Alright, hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make your own Pebble PET custom with your own Navi and everything. And you may be saying, if you watch my other video, you'll be like, hey, wait, didn't you already make a video like that? Well, that video was an hour long and I figured out how to make it shorter, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is a Cloud Pebble account. And if you don't have a Pebble account, you can sign up for one right here. Just click Create Account. And then you just fill all this this fancy stuff in, and once you're done, just go back to the link in the description, and then you can click Login with your Pebble account. Then you just fill in the information here. Alright, so once you're logged in, it should look something like this, except you probably will not have a bunch of projects in here unless you've actually been working on Pebble before. So to create a new project, there's two options: create and import. In the last video, I made you create it step by step, which took at least almost half the video, maybe a third. So what we're going to do this time is going to import it. So we have a new GitHub page for NAVI Engine. Now it's just called NAVI Engine, which is pretty nice. Alright, so what we're going to go ahead and do is go to the link in the description and then just copy all the way to github.com. So you don't need the HTTP, any of that nonsense. Now go back to your Cloud Pebble page right here and then click Import from GitHub. And under project name, call this whatever you want to call it for your Navi. Let's just, since this is going to be a base PET, we'll just call it base PET. Then just go ahead and paste in the address we copied. And under branch, leave this the same, and then you can don't have to click get remote. Just go ahead and click import. Now it's downloading all the code for us and setting up the project. So we just saved about 20 minutes right there. Easy, right? Alright, now that we have all this stuff in, the first thing you want to do is actually test it. If you look at this, the resources, you'll see that we all have megaman set up. He's the Navi that comes default with the NAVI engine. I should have made it a normal NAVI, but I don't actually think they had any sprites for that. That would have been kind of funny to give you a default NAVI. Nope. Well, you're going to be using the sprites from Rockman EXE 4.5 because that has the biggest NAVI sprites, and that's what we're going to be using for this example. So for our base PET, let's go back over here. Our base PET, we have megaman in here, and we have a megaman icon. So let's go ahead and go to settings. Alright, so base PET, it says for project name up here. If you would just leave all this the same up here and then come down here. So here's the first thing you need to change: short app name. We're going to call this whatever you want it to show up on your watch. We don't want it to say megaman PET because you might already have the megaman PET. So we can just call this base PET or Forte if you want. I don't really care either way. For long app name, you can make this as long as you want, so we can call it base/Forte PET if you want. Again, it's up to you. This is the one that will show up on your phone, so you have way more space than the one that shows up on your watch. Alright, for menu image, leave this alone. For company name, if you want to add your own name, that's fine. You can just do plus Capcom. I don't know, what's your name? Version number, you can leave this alone if you want, or you can change it to 0.5 or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is the most important thing you have to change. Under app UUID, you want to click generate. That will make sure that your app UUID has a different one than the megaman PET. By changing this, you'll be able to actually have both your base PET and your megaman PET on your watch at the same time, so you can switch between them. Alright, and everything else looks good. If you see any little note things, let's see. If you see any of these, then you have to make sure you click on it and to make it save. But of course you can't have version numbers too long. So just click that, turn it into a check, and then you save. That's only if you see that little icon. Alright, so the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to actually work with our sprites. So I'll have a link in the description to, or I think you can go here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so I'll have a link in the description to this image too. You'll need to download this image itself. So you can right click on it and copy. I'll just call it background image in the description, so you'll be able to find it easily. So open this with your favorite multi-layered image editor. So you have to use GIMP or Photoshop or something. And let's move this over. Just go ahead and paste this in GIMP. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our NAVI. We want our NAVI to actually fit in this box, and this box will help us position it. So the clock will probably take up about half the box over here. So just keep that in mind. It will be about halfway over. Your NAVI can cover up the clock a little bit if you want, but you don't want them to cover it up too much because then you won't be able to see what the actual time is. So let's go ahead and look at our sprites. This will be linked in the description too. The official page is down. That's why we're using the web archive. we're going to use base. As you can see here, base has 3 blink animations. It's just as eye lighting up. While some have more, you can have a bigger selection. I just go with the eyes or mouth. As you can see, this guy has 5, but the NAVI engine only supports 4. So you can just skip one of these if you want. Like if you want to just have, you can skip this one and just have them like eye open, almost close, close, and then open again. You can just skip one of these. But we're not going to go into that just yet. So what you need to do is, since this is a PNG file, that's why it's transparent, we got to save it. So right click and say save image. And just save it anywhere. Then we just got to open it. Let's see. So you say open folder or whatever from down here, and it will show you where it is. Then we got to open it directly in GIMP. I think I clicked preview by accident. Or did I? No, here we go. Alright, so he comes with a shadow himself, but we're not going to be using that shadow. And in the future, when I tell you how to use shadows in this video, since this is going to be half new, half old video, ideally you do not want to actually use black for your shadow, although I will tell you that later on in the video, since I said this is a 2-part video kind of, or 2 parts combined. When I say use black, instead you will want to use this color. So I'll show you how to use the color real quick. Go ahead and highlight this, it will be in the description. And then when I say use black, instead you just double click in here, and then under HTML notation, just fill this in. And then you'll have the right color for the shadow. So then when you do your shadow, just make it this color and you're good to go. Why are we using this color instead of black? Well, as you can see, black looks like it's outlined when you're looking at it in PET, but when you use this color as a shadow, it makes the background look darker. So it actually looks like your NAVI is really there in 3D space. So it will definitely make you look a lot better. Anyway, moving back along, what you want to do is just highlight your NAVI right here. And just do, once you selected it with this square box, just go ahead and do edit, copy, and we're going to move to here. We're going to do edit, paste. And then that what we can do is we can position our NAVI. You can have them right here and have them like, you know, almost touching the clock, or you can have them off to the side a little bit. I'd say something like this should be okay. Again, since this video is filmed over 2 different days, it may look a little bit different later on, but don't worry about that. Alright, now once you have him positioned, that means he's perfectly sized and positioned for the actual PET. So all you have to do is just make this a new layer. And then you can turn off this old layer. Then you can just go ahead and save this anywhere you want. We'll go ahead and save it as... Oh, sorry, you won't want to save it, you want to export it. So you go File, Export, and then you can save it to wherever you want. And now we're going to jump over to the old video, which has the rest of the information you'll need. And we're just going to call this base. .png. We're going to not use any compression. Alright, now what we need to do is we need to convert this to the colors that we will see in the Pebble smartwatch. So here's our image. And let me get the page up real quick. This is talking about using the watch face generator that actually will let you change the color. It will automatically change the colors for you. So the settings they suggest, since as you can see here in this example, this person had this really colorful picture, but when they put it on their watch, it looks really, really, you know, bland, grainy, and dull. So what they had to do was they went in and boosted the colors so it looks really, really dark in real life. But when you put on the Pebble, you can get all the colors. So that's exactly what we're going to do too. The settings they used to get the best color range were -55 brightness, 28 contrast. So let's go ahead and go to that page. And maybe one of the plugins I have conflicts with Internet Explorer, but regardless, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to double click up here, gives me the full path, copy that, paste it in here, and open up base. And there we go. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a white background. That makes it easier to, you know, cut around. And here we go. So this is what base looks like. I think this is a pretty good coloring. So what did it say we had to use for brightness and contrast? -55 and 28. So let's go ahead and do that. Brightness -55 and +28. Okay, it doesn't look great, but remember, it will probably look better when it's on the actual watch itself. So we're going to go ahead and download this image. Although unfortunately that means the background has a bunch of graininess in it. I wish they had an option for a clear background, but apparently they do not. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this. Click download and that will just save it to your computer. Just click the image. Then you open it and it's in a zip folder. So extract, and here we go. And we're going to go ahead and open this with GIMP because we need to make it transparent again, so it will blend in well with the background. So how do we do that? Look at this. We got all this funky little staticky stuff around him, and we don't want that. So the easiest thing I found to do is to go back to your original base picture right here. Make sure that you have your base image take up the entire canvas. So right click here and say scale image to canvas size. Alright, and then select all, edit, copy visible. Come over here. Make this bigger so you can see it if you want. Control A for select all, and edit, paste. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make this a new layer. And this new layer, as you'll see, has transparency. This old one does not. So what we're going to do is click the select by color. Make sure you have your pasted layer selected. Click here. And then you can just hide this layer if you want, since we don't need it anymore. We already got its transparency selected. Come down to your original layer. Click delete. And make sure you have an alpha channel. I forgot about that. So right click. Add alpha channel. Press delete again. And there you go. You got your background. Alright, so now how do we save this how do we import this to our watch face? Well, simply just save it again, export as. Where's our folder again? I think we can still do this, so copy it from up here, put it up here, Control V, we're in the right folder, and make sure to call this something else, because if you ever want to edit base again, you want to have your original one just in case you want to make changes, and you want to have a separate copy that's your processed one, which is basically set up for the Pebble watch face. So we'll call it base processed, and let's go ahead and export it. Oh, you want to put .png at the end, and you can just export it with whatever settings you want. I say use at least 1 compression, because otherwise the file will be pretty big. So you can do 9 compression if you want, but I'm just going to do 2. That should give us a decent amount of compression. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is go back to Cloud Pebble, and we're going to say dismiss because we already know it installed successfully. And then you want to go down to, where's megaman? I believe it's this one. Okay. And you want to go to your replace file, you click there, and we're turning him into base. Identifier is what's important. As long as your identifier says megaman, your base should show up properly. Alright, so let's go ahead and click main.cpp, save it and run it, and let's see what happens. Ta-da! Base is here. Unfortunately, as you'll see in a few seconds, well, if you click this you can see, oops, it looks a little bit brighter now, so that looks better. But as you'll see, whenever he blinks, it will still have the Mega Man blinking animation, which is a little bit awkward, I must say, as you'll probably see in a few seconds. But other than that, I think it looks pretty nice. We have base in there, and we didn't even have to do that much work. Once you just do the importing, there you go, you can see the blinking. Once you do the importing, that takes a while. Everything else is pretty simple. Alright, so now let's actually do the blink. As you saw in our file, I think, we actually have a blinking. One thing I forgot to do is I forgot to do the actual shadow. Go to the base process. As you can see, we don't need this layer anymore, so let's just delete that. Select all around him. Do select, invert, make a new layer, transparency, sure, that's fine. Fill it in with black. Control A for highlight everything. Cut it, move it, and we're gonna just move this down and to the left. You want to make sure there's visible stuff on each side so you can actually tell there's a shadow there. Go ahead and press anchor down. That will apply the changes. Move this layer under the other one, and boom, you have an actual shadow. So there we go. Let's go ahead and export this as base processed again. And then remember, this time when we're actually redoing something, we don't want it to, we want to replace our old one. So replace file, base processed, and save. And now we have our shadow. Ta-da! Alright, so that looks a little bit better. Alright, so now that we have that in, like I said before we got distracted, we're going to do the blinking. So as you look here, you see he has his eye in 3 different things. It's not really blinky, it's kind of like, you know, pulsing, I guess. So what you want to do is you want to find out exactly where this fits on his face. Since we didn't have to do any scaling down or anything, this should be pretty easy. Let's go ahead and cut this first one. Or we could just copied it, that's fine too. Control C for copy if you want. Go to base process or the original base, either one will work fine. So you can have this one open or you can have this one open. You want to pretty much figure out where it lines up on his face. Make a new layer on top. Sorry about this, guys, I haven't done this in a while. Control V, and then you can see where it goes. It goes about right here, I believe. Alright, so that looks about right. What does this mean? This means that we know where this actually goes. Move your cursor to the very top left, and then it says okay. So we are at 3556. As you can see right down here, it said 3556. So what we're going to do before we forget, go to main.c, and we want to go to eyes position. Up here it says eyes X. We do 35. Oops. Okay, yeah. X is 3635, I think. Was it? Let's find out again. Alright. 3556. So it's 3556 or 3557. So X is 35. Y is 56. Now if you're a little bit confused by that, let me go over that again. When you move your cursor down here, it will say where your cursor is in reference to the image. So when I move to the top left of the image, basically I have the part of the pointy thing, the cursor on the top left, and the other part on the top, sorry, okay. You want to have your cursor on the very top left corner of the image. When you have that there, you can find out where on the image it lines up to. As we just tested here, lining up the eye means that the top left of the image is about approximately 3536 or 3537, and once we know that, we're pretty much good to go. So let's go ahead and make a new image. Create from clipboard. This will just give us just his eye. So we can call this export as base i1.png. Export and export. There we go. And we'll just keep doing that with all of them. The only thing is you want to make sure they're all the same size if possible. As you can see, this only has 3 options for different eye things, and they all kind of look the same. Actually, no, as you can see here, it's like gets a little bit bigger, I guess. I don't know, but this is his blink cycle from 4.5. Some of the other Navis might actually blink like normal people, but for base it's a little bit different. Alright, so let's copy this. File, create from clipboard. You can do that on any of these since they all have the same thing. And it's 8x9 again, so we're good. If it wasn't 8x9, you'd have to go back here and make sure you have the entire eye copied. So we'll call this base I2, export, and we'll call this one, we'll just create here. File, create from clipboard. And if you didn't see before, what I was doing is I was highlighting them and I was pressing Control C to copy. I don't know if I have to mention that, but I'm sure someone might have missed that. And then we have the third one, so we export this as, just click this, will give you base I2, so just change this to base I3 for the third one. Alright, and export. Now since we need 4, we're just going to use the first one again, so copy this one again, make sure you have the entire eye. As you can see, there's a tiny bit at the bottom, so I was making sure I got that too. Copy and file, create from clipboard. This is going to be our fourth one. So remember, you go 1, 2, 3, and the last one is just going to be 1 again. We're going to make this base I 4.png, export, and export. And then we're almost done, guys. Cool. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is go back to our watch face converter, and we're going to convert this image. So we're going to browse, go back to this folder, copy it from here, Control V, paste it in here, base I1, negative 5528. So we're going to keep that going. Negative 55, positive. And as you can see, it moves all this stuff back in. So what we want to do is just move it to the top left. Okay, we want to move this to 0, 0. This is offset because it's trying to make an entire watch face out of this. Okay, you can just click reset. I didn't know that. So just go ahead and make that be at 0, 0 by clicking reset both times. And then just scroll down here, click download, and save, and open folder, and all that fun stuff. And extract all. You want to do this one at a time. You don't want to just go ahead and load them all up and then convert them all and then download them and then work with them. You want to work with one eye at a time. So upload the eye, convert the eye, download it, and then open it with GIMP. This way you don't have to worry about remembering which eye is which. Alright. And now that we have it in GIMP, all we have to do, zoom in a lot, and copy it out. Copy, create from clipboard, and it's 8:9 again, so that's good. Zoom in. We're using the old ones as stencil, so select all, edit, copy, and again, since this eye has a little bit of transparency in it, the transparency is the same in each eye, so we're going to use one eye for all the stencils. So go to our converted one, and we're going to say new layer, transparency, and edit, paste, and we're going to anchor that down, and now we're going to select the part that was transparent, and now all the transparency is selected, hide it, and press delete. Alright, and now we're just going to go ahead and export this as a PNG file. So we're going to call this base I1 processed, or we can just call it _P, and save. Alright, and we're going to do the same thing for the other eyes. Now that we have that one actually done, let's go ahead and upload it. Hopefully it won't get too mad at us. So let's go down to Blink Stage 1. And we're going to replace, remember replace, not upload new file. Base I1P, save. As you can see, now the image is 8:9. So what you want to do here is, we'll just do them all at the end. So once you have it uploaded, you're good for now. And let's go ahead and do the next one, which is base I2. So we're going to go ahead and export this as base I2 _P for processed. Again, you can name it whatever you want. I'm just saying this might be easier. Alright, and next thing we need to do is import it into our Cloud Pebble. So here we go, Blink Stage 2. And replace base I2, save, looking for number 3. Alright. And paste. Another thing you can do is if you don't want to make a new layer first, once you paste it in, just click new layer, and it's its own separate layer. Make sure this layer is selected. Click any parts that are transparent. I should have mentioned this before, but if your eyes don't have any transparency, you don't have to do any stenciling or trimming or anything like that. But if they do have transparency, then you'll have to do this. Go ahead and click delete on the original thing. And since it's only showing what we want, we can delete this, or we can leave it there. Let's just delete it. And we'll go ahead and click export. And this is going to be base eye 3 underscore P. Alright, export it and upload it. Cloud Pebble, blink stage 3, and replace file with base eye underscore 3P, and save. So, browse, paste it, and we're on base eye 4, guys. We're so close to being done. Which are stencil, and we're going to export this as base eye 4 underscore P for processed. Alright, now that's processed, so let's go ahead and upload it. Blink stage 4, replace file, base eye 4 processed, and here we go. Alright, so since we have them all in there, and they're all the same size, 8x9, what we gotta do is come back to main.c and see how it says eyes size. We have to fill this in too. So x is the first number, which is 8. Y is the second number, which is 9. Once we have all that in, we can save it and test it. Let's go ahead and run this. We probably should have changed the blink interval too. As it says here, blink timer, blink every X seconds. We could probably run it again in the time it takes it to actually blink. So we'll say 5. Hey, we actually saw it. His eyes did the little light up thing. Alright, so you can press this button to show what it looks like when it's lit up. And it looks like it brightens up a little bit too much. But we can see the back of it, so okay, so we got blink stage 1, 2. Okay, see here, this one's brighter, so that means we're probably not using processed for number 2. Let's go ahead and upload blink stage 2 underscore P, and we're replacing it, remember, not upload new file. Save it and hit that compile button. Now we can go ahead and close some of these that we don't need anymore. And let's check the blink one more time. There you go, now it's much better. Now as you see, his eye just slightly changes color, so it's not as dramatic, but it does look significantly better. Alright, so now we're technically done. If you want to change anything else, like I said, you can turn on vibrate on hour or vibrate on Bluetooth loss. The icon's still the same. You can see we turn off Bluetooth here, and then wait a few seconds to pop up with the icon. Oh, one thing I didn't explain is what the post game is for. It says post game here. If you use a base PET, there's a disconnected icon. If you're going to be using base, I would highly suggest turning on this option called post game. I'll show you what it does real quick. When you turn it to true, go ahead and save this and run it. See what it does. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but what it does is it adds an extra 0 to your battery life. So on you think that would be confusing, but when you turn up to 100% battery, it'll actually say 1,000 for like 1,000 HP. But if you turn it down to like 10%, you may say that it gets confusing, but it turns red to let you know your HP is low. So it's not saying you have 100% battery life, because then why would it be red? Alright, one thing I forgot to show you guys how to do is actually put the app on your watch so you can test it, or be able to put it on the store. So it's pretty easy. First thing you'll probably want to do is make an icon. I went ahead and made this one in GIMP. It has to be 28 by 28, so just go ahead and make whatever you want. I don't think you can do transparency, so just draw something in GIMP, save it as a PNG. Then go back to your projects page, open the project, and you'll want to find your icon that says Hikari color, and you just want to go down to the replace and replace it with your new icon. Mine's called base icon. Save. Let me go ahead and unlock my phone real quick. You'll need to be on the same network as your phone. So basically you have to be on the same Wi-Fi. So if your phone is on 3G, you have to put it on Wi-Fi in order to transfer it directly to your Pebble smartwatch. Alright, so here we go. Make sure you save this and go to settings. Make sure everything's alright here. Base PET, all that good stuff. Next, go to compile. And you want to switch it from the default thing will probably be emulator. You want to switch this to phone. And you'll have to have your phone in developer mode for Pebble. So what you do is you click this icon up here by the search glass or the magnifying glass. Brings up a menu. This is terrible. Go to settings, and you'll see a screen that looks like this. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see an option that says developer connection, which you cannot see at all on my phone. But trust me, it's right here. The developer connection, and you'll see something like this. It will look kind of like this. So what you want to do is, let's say server stop. There's a little switching at the top. Go ahead and switch that on, and it will say, go ahead and switch that on, and it will say listening on. It will list your IP address. So now on here, just go ahead and click install and run, and you'll probably have to sign in on your phone. If you'll have to be signed in on the same Pebble account, and it'll say installing and run, preparing to install app, and it should say at the bottom, it should say connected. It says installed successfully, and on my watch you see it's loading up, and it shows base, and it looks really cool. I'll have my montage video at the end, which will actually show what it looks like for real, but it doesn't look too bad. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this end to the video. Oops, I didn't finish. Okay, so in order to put this on the store, the thing you'll have to do is you'll have to click get PBW. Again, it's under compile, get PBW. That will download your latest version of the file, and you can go to this if you want to go back to working with the emulator, because now every single time you could compile, it will push it to your watch. But if you want to, you can just click emulator, and now from now on it will go back to just compiling to the emulator. Alright, that's it. That's the last little bit I forgot to talk about. So I guess I'll see you guys later. Tune in tomorrow for a slightly less technical Mega Man Week video. Alright, bye.